And welcome to another episode of Diary of a Gold Coin Dealer. In today's episode, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to title it. Grinding out another month, maybe. I'm undecided. The last 2 months, they've been hectic. They've been really hectic. I'm expecting a hectic couple of weeks. I've got a lot of coins in at the moment, but I seem to be hitting all of my targets without kind of getting the good stock in. So, I've got another, I think between now and April, I reckon I can make 5k a month between now and April without actually exerting myself too much in terms of looking for more stock. Um, I definitely know this month and next month I don't need any more stock, and I've hit 5k a month due to how it's kind of worked out. I've been waiting on 15k worth of barcoded stamps. I've also been waiting on some more graded things to come back. And between them, I think there's probably 10k profit between a lot of them. And that's not to say that I'm making a killing on the graded bits. There's some big hitters. I've done okay on some of them. Some of them are just really poor. But I've got away with it because Spot's gone up so much. They've been away for so long that Spot's added a fairly decent chunk of money onto the coins. So I've done okay on that. There was a batch that come in from a gentleman close-ish to me. I felt really bad for him. He bought his collection from another dealer. I'm not going to name names. He doesn't seem to have a good word to say about this dealer. Coins come in, and to be perfectly frank, they were shite. What what came in wasn't good. It was a collection of international coins. I sold most of them off. Some of them went for spot because there was nowhere I could go with them. Some of them had acid marks, test marks, scratches, you name it. And for something that was sold to him as a premium coin or premium coins, they weren't good. So I sent 4 coins off for grading. 2 of them have come back details. What a shock. One come back in AU 55, which for the coin type is not that bad. It is a $2. Um, and the other coin did pretty well. So there's going to be some money in that for me, but it's nothing to shout home about. I think if I make about 8% from the entire batch I bought from him, for gold, that's good. But considering I've lost it for 3 odd months, it's not really that good. I don't mind doing that. I'll always take a punt if I feel I can move something up the value curve, and it may shock me in the decent one, which you will see. I will put it on camera when it comes back. When it comes back, I've had I've been waiting on other graded coins from a different batch. They still aren't in, including the 2002 PF70 set that I, I got lucky with them. I got extremely lucky with them. I wasn't expecting any of them to grade. They've been handled. They weren't fantastic, and that's what conservation can do. Sometimes you get away with it to get a straight flush. I was over the moon. Now the way that set's worked out, so there's going to be about 2,500 profit from that set, and the only reason is because when I sold that collection, I deferred my profit. So I had a total I paid, and then I sold and sold and sold, and that's what's left. So considering I paid the gentleman, you know what? I don't even know what I paid the gentleman. Let me let me check. I think I paid him about 15k. Okay, I can't seem to find my spreadsheet. Let's have a look. No, I paid him 12. I've done it incredibly well on that. Then that's certainly above what I'd usually make. So if I paid him 12 and I'm going to make 2.5, what's that? 20%. Yeah, that's incredibly well, and that's only because I've got away with it on the 2002 set. Everything else traded either in line with expectation or slightly under. So let's have a look. Yeah, that was under. That was under. That was under. Um, that was slightly over. So looking at my spreadsheet, so the way I did it was I valued it, and then I kind of had an expectation of what the value was and where I thought it would be, and then I worked out the postage. Oh, hang on, I've got to take the postage out of that as well. So I've spent 255 on postage. That needs to come out as well. Okay, Okay, so it's not quite 20%, but I've got away with that. So I've got that 2.5 set to come in. I've got the postage stamps to come in. I've got the coins that weren't great to come back. There is margin in those. Not a crazy amount, but there is margin in them. I've got 100 times 1 gram bars to come in. I've got the gentleman from Glasgow constantly sending me stock. I've got some auction bits I haven't sold yet, including the 1989, the Griffin. I'm waiting on spot to go up on the more bullion type things. So I'm looking at it and thinking, oh, and I've got the stamp clients who come back on the monthly. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I should be aiming for 5k a month until April, really. That's what I should be pushing. Again, it's always a tie up between doing too much, but looking at where the margin is and how easy that margin is in comparison to the amount of work that I need to do to get that margin, it's a relatively light one. It's kind of like I got 2 months that are freebies in terms of the amount of work I have to put in to get that. Now, in the past, for me to make, say, 5k a month, that's a lot of effort. There's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of auction work or dealing with suppliers or trying to seek out that stock. Whereas on this occasion, it's all kind of bundled into really profit dense items. So I have got away with it. Now, after April, it doesn't really matter. Like after April, I'm planning on moving anyway. So I'm not really that bothered. It should, in my mind, I'm seeing it. Well, actually, if I can hit that 5k a month, that's I don't need to. I don't need to do it now. But if I can, it means that from April, I can just focus on the coins I want. I was talking to the gentleman in Glasgow about this because I want a couple of 8 Escudos to add, and I've also doubled my target to 200 on the $1 coins. I'm going to put 100 away for my mother, I think. So my goals have moved, but it all depends on how I feel. If the stock's there, it might completely dry out. I might start going to auctions and there's nothing there for me. The people who sell me their stock might think, actually, I want to take it elsewhere. You don't know these things. So I don't know. Right, as for this section, I always like to talk about how gold has done over the last week or so. It's all over the place at the moment. I hate this type of market. So looking at Atkinson's, because that's the one I use, they are not the only one. They're currently sitting on 67 and 9 pence a gram. It's actually lower than, it's way lower. It hits, I think it was 68 and 50, 68 and a half. I think the benchmark is 2-1 myself. I think it's going to get there and I think it will sit there. It's been up and down and up and down. It's shooting up and it's crashing down. I hate this type of market. There was a question from my last video and it said, Sean, what's the sweet spot in terms of buying? And this is where this job is really hard, because when the market does this, it reacts in this way. You can't have a sweet spot. You've got to be very receptive to the market. You've got to feel it out and see what works and see what doesn't. When a market is stable, it's easy to have a sweet spot because you know where you stand. You know, you're just going to trade in and out and it's going to come and go and it's not a problem. But when it's up and down, people either don't want to buy or they don't want to sell. So you've got to move accordingly and you can get caught short. Now, I've been caught short on the last auction lot because I've got a couple of ounces, a couple of quints. If the price doesn't go up by next week, these are going in the bank vault. I'm going to forget about them. And the reality is I can't really sell them for any sort of profit. But because I'm under the impression that it's going to shoot up anyway, why would I sell it for a loss? I think that's just around the corner. There's no point in me just selling it for a loss. I don't need the cash flow. I just need to have enough cash flow so I can trade in and out. And we're coming up to Christmas and people tend to want to buy a couple of things here and there. So I've got plenty of stock that I can sell and sit on these on the sidelines. Do I think that gold's going to shoot back up to maybe 22? I think it will come, but how long is a piece of string? I can't see it dropping back down to say 1800, 1900. I think those days are done myself. I can't see it dropping below 2000, let alone those. Now, I will make a video about, there was a discovery in China about, I don't even know the amount. My friend sent it to me, and I gave him a rationale of my view on it, and he was like, "Oh, okay." I think that's very important in terms of where you think gold will go, and I'm going to tell you how I think it will affect the market, or won't affect the market, but I think it deserves a whole video. I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's been a good month. December's going to be a busy one. I'm going to have a half month this month. I'm going to do what I need to do, and then I'm going to take a couple of weeks off, I think. So, boy.